Welcome into Gamesthetic. I'm Alex Light with Sparky3. Hopefully you're having a phenomenal day today. Episode 182. The last episode before we go on a little break for SummerSlam next week. That's exciting. So yeah, no show next week. Gonna be watching that. Gonna be having a great time. We also have no Zach in studio at the moment. He might be coming. I still don't know if he is. I know like he already pre-warned me it was gonna be a shit day at work. It's also his birthday, so happy birthday, Zach. I told him just go enjoy the evening. But we do have John. John, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Why are you so far back on this thing? Yeah, you're good. I'm gonna zoom it in.
okay. I was wondering that. I felt far away. Something with the desk was not positioned how I was ready for it. Because even when I pulled the mic over, I was like, what happened here?
Anyway, how we doing?
I'm okay. A little tired.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's one of those days. And I think this show today is going to reflect that.
No.
For context, John asked me as we're starting, what are we talking about today? And I just said, that's a great question, John. That is a great question.
Normally I try to do like, I try to come a little prepared.
Yeah.
I sat down, I heard the music start, and I was like, oh, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, and honestly, it is just the vibe of we really don't know what we're doing today. It's been a week, it's been a week. Haven't really properly prepared for today's show. It is what it is. We got a break next week. Watch SummerSlam. The Tribal Chief will return. The true Tribal Chief will have a great time, and we'll come back the week after recharged. It's fine. It's all good. We will, of course, shout out Rogue Energy and Agent Inc. later on the show. The only thing that I had slated was just a conversation that I saw like pop up, and it also then kind of resulted in some conversations and some other casts that I listened to and videos and stuff of what is the best generation of multiplayer gaming. So we're going to kind of touch on that. And then after that, it's honestly just a free-for-all. Just whatever pops in the dome. It doesn't even have to be gaming. You want to talk SummerSlam, we can talk SummerSlam. We'll get there. It's all right. I mean, hey, we can toss SummerSlam in to the show because there was that DLC pack that was announced that got some people feeling a little wishy-washy on it. So there's conversations to be had. But, if you're listening to this, whenever you're listening, make sure to like and follow the show. We'd appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. And I shout this out before, but again, shout out to anyone that follows on Kick. I never see it. But every time I go to Kick to change the title for the show, I always see, oh, we got another follower. Oh, we got no more followers. I never see anyone follow. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Anyway, let's go to camps. Yeah, we'll see if Zach shows up. I know he said it was going to be a crappy day at work. But again, it's his birthday, so happy birthday to Zach. If you don't show up, it's all good, man. Go enjoy the evening. It's going to be one of these days. It's going to be one of these episodes. This might be one of those episodes that just like, nice cap out, right in an hour. Let's get out of here. Let's move about the day. That's kind of the vibe that I'm picking up. We'll see, though. We'll see. Anyway, let's just go ahead and jump into the main topic, and then we can just go at it. Just whatever comes off the dome and just jump into it. So the conversation that I've got lined up for us is what is the best generation of multiplayer gaming? So I only pulled 5 generations worth of consoles. Obviously, out of the 5 that I pulled, only one of them has, only one of them is not online focused. But, N64, PlayStation, some good multiplayer gaming in that generation.
Oh, I did not understand how you had organized this.
It was generations.
I didn't get that.
Okay.
I thought you were ranking them.
No, it's
And I
generations.
was real confused why you
that's-
stopped at 5.
Well, if I would have put 5th gen, that probably would have helped you. That probably would have helped you. If I put 5th gen, 6th gen, 7th gen, 8th gen.
It's also, it makes a lot of sense. It's been one of those days.
It's one of those days. Trust me, it's been one of those weeks, so I understand.
Also, it should have made sense when I started. I guess the thing that threw me off is the Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
It's out of place there.
Right. Yep. We got Wii U and Switch in the same generation. Because let's not forget, people, Switch is part of the 8th generation. It's not a 9th generation console. Let's remember that now. But yeah, I pulled the last 5 generations. So the 9th gen with the Xbox Series and PS5, 8th gen with Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, 7th generation with 360, PS3, Wii, 6th generation with Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, and the 5th generation, which does not have online, but it's still got some fun multiplayer games, with Saturn, PlayStation 1, and Nintendo 64. So it's just a conversation that I saw come up of what is the best console generation for multiplayer gaming? And the answer that I saw across the internet was all pretty much the same answer. And I'm curious if your answer is the same as everyone else's.
Okay, I have a caveat to this.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
It depends on what we're classifying as the best generation for multiplayer gaming.
That's fair.
Is it based off of what is available and like how easily accessible it is, or is it like the nostalgia that everybody's clinging to? Because there's a very good argument to be made for like 360 PS3 era.
Don't disrespect the Wii. Throw the Wii in there.
I don't think of it as a multiplayer.
That's fair.
I think of it as like Nintendo, where Nintendo is primarily living room focused, like group play.
That's fair. Still multiplayer.
Yeah, but in my mind, that's a different multiplayer. That's like couch, almost like couch co-op.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, PS4, Xbox One. I did spend a lot of time playing multiplayer games, primarily like Destiny and that.
Good times.
There's also, I'm gonna say it, there's a really good argument to be made for the current generation.
I think you're right.
There's a very good argument, because here's the thing. Everybody is going to remember fondly of like the 360, PS3, and the Wii between that time. Because, I mean, when we talk about some of our favorite like multiplayer gaming moments, that's where they take place.
Yeah, that's our generation. That's our era.
But there's a very good argument to be made for the current generation. Not necessarily because of necessarily the quality or anything. Granted, I mean, there's the games that are out now, multiplayer wise, really good, or it's like a lot of them are really good. It's just the thing of there's so many more people playing games now.
Yeah,
like the state that it is in, like multiplayer games are in right now. I mean, granted, a lot of it is
rough.
I mean, a lot of it is carryover from the big explosion a few years ago with like Fortnite and everything.
Yeah.
To where like a lot of multiplayer games kind of gravitated towards like BRs and stuff like that. But those are still some of the best or like biggest games in the world. But I don't know. When I look at like, I mean, my brain says like 7. But then I think back to it and I'm like, that's kind of, there's a little bit of bleed over there.
Yeah.
I would honestly, if I was to pick one, I could make a good argument for 9th gen.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm looking at this list and I take away kind of the nostalgia of like the 360 era, I would say 8th.
As the best?
As potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got to think of it as, or because I think of it as, that is when a lot of this, or a lot of multiplayer games started taking off. Granted, a lot of, it's like, didn't play a lot of it during that time. I'd say it's somewhere between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Is what I would say. 8 is kind of the carryover. Like, a lot of stuff carried over from the 7th gen. And then, I mean, honestly, a lot of it from there. Like, for 8 is, I'm like, okay, well, what made me want to play my consoles? It was mostly like Destiny. And I feel a lot of people were like that.
Right.
8 may not be as good as as my memory is saying, just because my memory is saying Destiny, and Destiny was like, it was just that much fun.
Yeah, true. So when it comes to your 9th generation argument, I do think there can be an argument made for it, but I feel like one negative aspect to the generation that may sour a lot of people, where they would not even take into consideration, is just like the sheer amount of multiplayer game flops, so much live service, games as a service, everything becoming games as a service. I feel like there's a bad taste in people's mouth with that.
I would almost argue that adds to it.
That's also a fair. I think both sides is a fair argument on that.
In my mind, the quantity of games available. I mean, yes, some of them are going to flop because they're just coming out so quickly.
Concord.
But it's one of those where there's something to be said where the state of gaming right now is flooded with choices.
And that's not a bad thing either.
And yes, certainly some things aren't gonna land because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the thing of there are so many more people playing games now.
Yeah.
And like especially multiplayer games. Like the free to play multiplayer like marketplace out there for games, like that availability, that alone will bring people in.
That's true.
To like play games.
Yeah. I promise there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of gamers that literally play nothing but free-to-play games.
I mean,
they got their hands on a console, and that's all they do.
Yeah. And that kind of sways, like makes me think a little bit, because I'm like, all of the older generations, when I think back at them, it's like, yeah, I played a lot of multiplayer games back then. But also I was playing, most of the time I was playing those games, I was playing them with my friends.
Right.
But like these days, the amount of people that just will hop on, like they'll just hop on and they'll play Warzone, or they'll just hop on and play Fortnite or something. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Steve in chat. He said, "Is this a real question? 360 was the king. Halo and COD alone." See, that's where John and I have the nostalgia for as well, is because of that. Like, but John's bringing up a lot of like fair points that make you have to consider from a technical standpoint that the 8th or the 9th could also be considered the best.
I mean, granted, my vote
would be 7th.
Is 7th.
See, that'd be probably my vote too.
But when I like, because when I saw this immediately, my brain starts trying to defend the current generation, not because, like, I mean, we've talked plenty of times and complaining about like a lot of games coming out or the lack thereof, new games and that coming out. But the thing is, there's still the landscape of multiplayer games and like live service games have just stayed, and they've been around for consoles and that, and their player bases have just exploded.
Yeah.
It's one of those where, I mean, think about it. Like with Xbox, a lot of people are, I mean, there's a lot of Xbox Series out there, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't buying their series for the Xbox exclusives that are really out there right now.
Yeah.
They're buying it, and they're either buying it and playing a bunch of Game Pass games, or they're buying it and they're going to the storefront and they're finding Warzone or Fortnite or something like that, and that's what they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people are buying these consoles, and a lot of them, all they do is they'll play like COD, or they'll play their choice of sports game or whatever it is. So there's a lot to be said for the number of people that, for this current generation of games, that only play multiplayer games.
Yeah, true. You know, and a couple other things that Steve said is like when it comes to that 7th generation, you know, literally influenced the entire video game industry. Xbox Live structure is still being used by so many companies, including PSN. Riot uses the same framework, I believe, as well. Which now that is credit just to Xbox alone, because like we've mentioned this on previous episodes. I think within just the last 2 months, it's like give credit when credit's due. Dreamcast, you know, laid the groundwork in multiplayer gaming. Xbox revolutionized it. You know what I mean? Like the original Xbox. So credit when credit's due. So I mean that's a fair point. When the 7th generation, you know, PlayStation got, you know, fully dipped their toes into online, when the PS2 was like maybe a handful of games and it was like super complex to even set it up. You know, then you have the Wii, which has its online structure, but you know, it is more of a family multiplayer game, whatever, sure. But like that 7th generation did kind of influence everything now. But also another argument here, you know, when John was kind of talking about the 8th gen kind of influenced where we are now, because the 8th gen is where a lot of these free-to-play structure kind of popped off. Because like while he's been sitting here talking, I've been kind of racking my brain thinking back to that 7th generation. How many free to play games was out at that time that was massive? I can think of a few free to play, like 1 versus 100. Love that. Hope it comes back.
That's not.
But
That's
like
not
the
even
eighth,
necessarily
the 8th
like,
generation revolutionized like this big free to play structure.
Well, it's like because you mentioned back to like 1 versus 100 and stuff like that.
Love that game.
That was less.
Please come back.
That was less of like a game that was like that was something that was so exciting for the time because it was just limited number of slots that you could get into.
Yeah.
But also it was something that everybody was excited for because it came around infrequently.
Yeah.
And it was things like that. And like as far as free to play games during the 7th generation, it was all events like that.
Yeah. The like I would say like the 8th generation was really where free to play stuff kind of like that's where it took off, which is now we're seeing the effect of it still in the 9th generation.
It was some free to play there. It was mostly the start of the live service game started in the 8th gen.
Yeah.
Or like the start I would say
Counter-Strike and League is a couple that Steve threw out.
Yeah. But it's one of those where it's like the live service structure as we know it now kind of started in the 8th gen of gaming.
Yeah, exactly. So like while the 7th gen influenced a lot, you can also say the 8th influenced a lot. So that's why this is such honestly a really tough question if you look at it technically.
It's also a weird thing to think of because a lot of like the live service structure in that came around in the 8th gen was also just that structure moving towards consoles when it had been on PC previously.
Yeah.
But it's just like that's where it kind of started, and now it's all like where we are currently. It's all intermingled together because now, regardless of if you play it on PlayStation, PC, or Xbox, you can play it and transfer all of your information between them. So now it's like it's an interesting state of you can play it wherever you like on whatever system or like place you want it to and maintain all of your progress in that across it. So in that standpoint, the current generation is also amazing for that aspect because if you can bounce between playing on your PC, your Xbox, maybe you're hopping in your other room to play on your PlayStation or something. If everything's connected between them, I mean, that's something we wouldn't have had in previous generations.
Right.
But yeah, it's one where, I mean, at the end of the day,
once you jump down the rabbit hole,
at the end of the day, most people who are going to look at this list who are in our age bracket,
they're going to say
are
the 7th.
Immediately going to go to 7th generation because that's a generation we played.
Yeah.
But also it was a really good generation for multiplayer games.
It was. That was kind of the peak for a lot of games. It was, in my opinion, like not maybe in terms of sales and player count, but just in terms of quality game. And it's like it's the peak of Halo. It's the peak of COD. Gears of War was at its peak, and it was actually a powerful IP, unlike today. You know, then there's plenty of others. Like PlayStation had their exclusives that they just left behind and let die. That was good for the PlayStation 3 at the time. Like, you know, it had so many juggernauts and helped competitive gaming was at an all-time high at that moment. Obviously, it's continued to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But like the argument of what is the best multiplayer generation, man, it is a tough one. Once you jump down the rabbit hole and start getting real technical about it, getting kind of off brand here, off show here. Shout out to another show. I was also kind of relating this argument to the argument that's always been a thing of like what's the best generation of like anime, like the big three of like the 2000s, what's called like the legendary 3 or legendary 5 of the 90s, or like the new big 3. Because like they all have different arguments. You have the big 3 from like the 90s with like Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, etc. That really helped inspire the next generation and helped make anime kind of continue to grow. But then you have that 2000s generation of One Piece really taking off. I know it started late 90s, really taking off in that mid 2000s. Naruto started, Bleach started, and helped revolutionize anime to be a worldwide thing. And then the current big three are also sells. So it's one of those kind of arguments where they all serve their own purpose, but crowning the king is very difficult.
Also weird for you to say new big three when One Piece is still going.
Oh, I know.
And two, Bleach is back.
The new big Bleach is still over. I'm not counting that one shot. Just the anime's back, finishing the series.
Yeah, but I'm saying that as far as the anime, it's like it's back now. So I mean, you've already got.
And then Boruto's going on.
You got to knock two of your new three off of there because I'm pretty sure people would prefer to go watch these.
Well, like in terms of the anime fandom, people's like, oh, My Hero, Black Clover, JJK, Demon Slayer. Those are all like the new big ones, which that's fair. They all have sold an incredible amount of copies. But it's just like the same principle of the arguments. Like they all serve their own purpose in this particular topic, but crowning the king, that's tough from a technical standpoint. But from like a personal standpoint, I think we can both say 7th gen all day. But like from a technical standpoint, they all have a different purpose of what makes them the best.
I think
like the 9th gen is the biggest generation it's ever been for multiplayer. 7th gen helped revolutionize the multiplayer. 8th gen helped give us the foundation and the groundwork of what we have today in the 9th.
Well, I've talked some about 8. I've talked a lot about 9 of why 9 actually deserves some credit here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to break down why 7 is the best.
Here we go.
And it's not completely to do like I'm gonna try to leave some of the nostalgia at the door here.
All right, leave it over there.
Because the thing is, it's like you've mentioned before, the biggest franchises in the world at that point in time during the 7th generation was Halo, it was Call of Duty. Like they both of them knocked it out of the park during that generation.
Yep.
It's like they came out, they had great stories, even better multiplayer. And it's like it was one of those things where it's like I remember Halo 3 at the time. Juggernaut.
Yep.
Only thing that even came close to knocking or to like putting a dent in the player count when it came out, Modern Warfare 2.
Yep.
But it was just like during the 7th generation, I wouldn't say revolutionized multiplayer gaming. I would say set the standard for multiplayer gaming.
That's a good way to put it.
Because up until then, it was, I mean, you could play online, but in the 7th generation, it was played online, and it was like everybody, even now, everybody can look back at that and say, like, if you have a game where the connections aren't working, everything's broken, you go, come on, we had this back on the 360 with like Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2, all of that. It's like, it's the standard that we or at least that I kind of still would go back to, where I'm like, we've been doing this for a long time. How have we gotten worse than what we used to be 10, 15 years ago?
That's a fair damn question.
But the thing is, like, outside of online multiplayer gaming, because there's the other part of it, which we have mentioned slightly, but the way a lot of people play games, or at least the way a lot of people play games now, and was created during with the Wii. Families didn't play games together necessarily
Until the Wii.
Until the Wii came out.
Yep.
And then every family just about owned a Wii.
Yep. That's why it's one of the highest selling consoles of all time.
It's like there's a reason. I mean, granted, Wii Sports came with the thing, but there was a reason why Wii Sports was like the highest selling game ever. It was because everyone wanted a Wii. It's like that multiplayer experience, even if it's not true multiplayer or the multiplayer that people tend to think of, it is kind of the couch co-op Nintendo way to play games.
Right.
But it is still getting a group of people together to play the games. And the Wii revolutionized that. There's a reason why the Switch sells as well as it does, and it's because of the Wii.
Facts.
It's
Facts.
like if the Wii didn't come out, the Switch would not be the juggernaut that it is.
Oh, I agree 100%.
It's like, I mean, that's a reason why the Wii U is memed on so hard, is because it's like you had the golden ticket
Yep.
and you fumbled it.
Yep. Honestly, if it wasn't, it's thanks to the Wii and the original DS is why we have the Switch. Because 3DS sold well, but it underperformed to the DS.
Oh yeah.
So
100%.
DS and Wii both, like Nintendo saw both of those. I'm like, let's just slap them together. Boom, moneymaker.
But yeah, it's like in the same way that I would say the 360 and the PS3 kind of set the standard for how online games should go. I would say the Wii set the standard for in-person multiplayer gaming, because that's what it was made for. It wasn't made to play online necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it was made to get a group of people together and to have a good time.
Right.
And I don't think there's a better system for that,
Yeah.
like to this day.
Right. Shout out to Jacob, my guy over at ATFS. He said 7th gen set the standard, 8th raised the bar, 9th has, in quotation for now, dropped the ball as far as online services go, but all-time generation for home gaming consoles for me is the 6th. Yeah, if we're talking just like favorite generation of gaming, not multiplayer related, I would also say the 6th. That's my favorite. But dropped the ball in terms of the 9th. That's where it's like, that's where it's such an interesting conversation that we were having, where it's like the 9th generation is like multiplayer is kind of like it, like we mentioned earlier, is like at its all-time peak. You know, there's so many people that play, but like I said, there's been a lot of fumbles. There's been a lot of fumbles.
I think I see this. This is where
it's tricky.
I almost think that the 9th generation, multiplayer wise, is getting like it's getting carryover like criticism for how the overall like 9th generation has been.
Yeah.
Especially on like the Xbox side of it. The Xbox side of it, we've got nothing.
Facts.
It's like it's on the way. We know it's on the way.
Yeah,
now.
we know it's coming.
But there's been so much criticism for not having the games, not getting the games, and all of that. The one place that they've done really well is multiplayer.
Right.
Granted, it's like a lot of it is like live service, multi-plat, can play anywhere type gaming. But that's where we are now, and the fact that
that's where it's at.
it's like the fact that works, and like I was saying, you can swap between platforms and where you want to play it and all that so seamlessly. I would say the one area that the 9th generation hasn't fumbled has been multiplayer gaming.
Yeah. Yes and no, I think. Just because like there has been fumbles of games that come out and fail, but other than that, it's like we've been saying, it's still the biggest it's ever been, and like the titles that are good are great, and they bring in numbers and they bring in views, which is also important. You got to think about the Twitch side, the Kick side, the YouTube stream side of things too. That's a very important factor to everything. Brings in the views, brings in the community and stuff like that. But yeah, the downside is, in terms of what Jacob was saying, was drop the ball. Is I think there is an unfortunate list of games that come out and then just flop aggressively. But there's also been games come out that's been great, and there's been carryover games that have continued to improve, like a Fortnite. It's just an interesting. Every side has an argument. I feel like I don't feel like there's a hard, definite answer.
Yeah, I guess I look at it and I'm like I put less against them for at least multiplayer wise for a lot of the flops that have happened because I see the highs that it's at.
And that's very fair in my opinion, because there is a lot of highs right now.
Because it is a thing of like, yeah, there's been a decent amount of failures out there.
Oh, yeah.
But you look at it and we're at a almost at a peak we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So, and it may not seem like that based off of
the failures,
some like the overall generation like feeling.
Yeah.
But as far as if we're just looking at multiplayer side of it, I mean, you can throw a dart at the catalog for whatever console you're looking at, and you're eating good.
Yeah. No, and that's true. I think when looking at it for the 9th generation, I think there's just, again, I think there's such a sour taste in people's mouths of oh, we've had so many failures. Oh, we've been in this stupid bridge mode for multiple years, or we still haven't left the 8th generation, where it's tough for people to perhaps see the all-time high that gaming is at, where even though it doesn't feel like it, because there's all this other negative shit happening in the gaming industry as a whole, like let's say layoffs and shit like that. Like there's so much negative that's happened this generation that it's tough to see that gaming as a whole is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Like it's just tough to realize that because of how all the bad shit that's happened. There's been a lot of bad shit.
And yeah, and I will say, like, yeah, this generation with multiplayer wise is probably at the highest it's ever been.
Yeah. Whether you want to admit it or not.
That doesn't make it the best. The number of people playing it doesn't, like, playing the games and the variety that's out there doesn't make it the best. Because when we look back at the 7th generation, yeah, we may not have had the player counts that are out there right now.
But the quality.
We had the quality of the games.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we may have, like, realistically, we may have only had a half dozen multiplayer games that really people latched onto during the generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just ballparking that number. I don't actually just threw a number
We
out.
did not research this episode.
But
let me stress this.
But you think about, like, 360 era big multiplayer games. It's easy to say we had a half dozen of them.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is,
I mean, like, think about it like this, because, like, you had Halo 3, banger. Halo Reach, banger. All 3 Gears, especially Gears 2 and 3, banger. Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. Well, I mean, that alone.
The thing is, or the point that I was going to make is, we may not have had all the crazy amount of games that are available now, but it was hard to get people to swap between them because each game was so damn good.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Halo, like, even when Halo Reach came out, yeah, we still had half the people over playing Halo 3.
Facts.
Because they love the gameplay of that.
Yeah.
It's like
you would swap between them.
Modern Warfare 3 may have been out, but Modern Warfare 2 was still getting a shitload of people playing it because it was so damn good.
I was swapping between the two for both of those.
But yeah, it's like, it was hard. That was the problem, was the games were so good that it was hard to pull people away from it.
Yeah. Jacob said, I personally think Microsoft has already set their sights on the 10th generation. They have yet to outsell Sony in terms of home consoles, and the word on the street is that they are pouring literally every resource into beating them. I don't think it's ever going to be possible, and they will always play second fiddle to Sony and riding the bench when you add in Nintendo. I will say, in terms of Microsoft setting their sights on the 10th gen, that I do agree with. I think the sights are set on the 10th gen. They're just gonna finish this generation very strong as long as all these games come out and they don't suck. Like that Xbox showcase over the summer was an absolute banger. And as long as these games come out and they don't flop, I think they're just gonna aim to finish this console generation strong and then lead into the next generation like on fire. That's kind of what I see happening.
Yeah. Okay, I've kind of trashed Xbox a lot over the last year.
But we like Xbox.
But what I'm about to say is, I don't necessarily agree with it. They'll always play second fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
As long as, not even necessarily that the games from the showcase and that actually come out and are good. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting that. Yeah, because if that doesn't happen, I mean,
it's dead. Xbox is dead.
If that doesn't happen, it's like, you literally have one thing to do right now, and it is make this section right here good. Mm-hmm. I think what needs to happen is, whereas like in this generation, I mean, hell, we're 5-6 years, something like that into it, mm-hmm. and we've got nothing on the Xbox side.
Yep.
Whenever they get to the 10th generation, it's like, regardless of how this generation went, you better have fucking a list of bangers. I don't care how your sales would look for the rest of the generation. Put everything on, front load that bitch.
Yes.
With everything you got.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to be able to compete.
Mm-hmm.
Give people a reason to buy your system. Besides Game Pass. Game Pass isn't cutting it anymore.
Yeah, no, that while it's still a great service, that being the only selling point is not cutting it right now.
Yeah, it's like it's still the best deal in gaming.
Yep.
It is not.
Hands
It
down.
is not going to push consoles.
Yeah.
Not at this point.
Yeah, you need like absolute banger games. Imagine if they made Elder Scrolls 6 single plat exclusive.
Probably going to happen.
They might have to at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised even if it's not like completely exclusive, like timed exclusive, but like Xbox only. It's like, yeah, they'll probably do that.
Yeah. Sony and Nintendo beat out Microsoft in the key region of the world that really defines how many consoles are going to be sold, and that is the Asian market. That's why I think they will always be behind. Aha! But here is the plot twist, Jacob. If Microsoft actually does what has been leaked and rumored, and even Phil kind of hinted on it, and they actually go into the 10th generation with a handheld variant of the console, that could be the ticket, because that market is extremely big on mobile gaming, handheld gaming. I know Sony obviously doesn't really have that, besides the Portal. Sony's just always been a powerhouse over there. But that's one of the big reasons why Nintendo's always been a powerhouse, is because of all the handheld gaming with the 3DS and the DS, the Game Boy, now the Switch, and then there's just the mobile gaming market's a totally different beast over there. But I feel like if Microsoft, number one, does what John said, comes in with banger after banger after banger lined up for the lead off 10th generation, and also leads off the 10th generation with a hybrid focus like the Switch, where you have this rumored in development handheld version of Xbox that plays games natively. It's not a BS streaming thing like the stupid PlayStation Portal that should have been $100. They actually really lean into that as well. I think that could be their ticket to kind of get it back, get their foot in the door for that market they have really struggled in. So that's it. It's a big we'll see. It's a big we'll see, because I think that could be one of the possible tickets to help move some extra stuff over there.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do some sort of hybrid thing, the one thing they absolutely cannot do is cut performance.
I know.
For it, because if they cut performance for it, then that's all gonna be the only talking point.
Yep. Yeah, especially since it's Xbox and we already have a cut performance console now that seems to be affecting certain ports. Hint, we don't have physical editions for Black Myth Wukong yet because it has to match for both consoles. So that is going to be the downside to it. But technology is continuing to evolve. So I mean, if there's a way to figure it out,
if there's a company that is going to make a console like a hybrid one and figure out how to give it as much power as they can, I think it's Xbox.
I think it would be Microsoft,
because they've got the money to do it.
Yeah, they do. They got a blank checkbook basically, just ready to go. The checkbook that's signed and just said, "All right, go, make us money, please, make us money. God, I'm begging you." Oh. Hard answer on what the best is, though. Are you going to say 7th?
I would go 7.
I'm going to go 7 too. From a nostalgia standpoint and just from a quality standpoint.
Yeah. It's nostalgia, it's the quality of the games, and it's the fact that it set the standard that is still being followed.
Yep. All right, now follow-up question, and you can't say obviously 5 or 6 because that's easy and cheating. Worst, 8th or 9th? Which one's worse? We're gonna crown these babies gold, silver, bronze. So 7th got the gold. Shout out to the Olympics going on. This is very fitting.
Are we saying which one's worse between the two?
Yes. Who's got that silver medal? Who's got the bronze medal?
The problem is I talked up 9.
You talked up 9th really hard.
I talked up 9th really good. The problem is 8th has the Switch.
That is true. 8th does have the Switch. That is a fact. 9th gets the bronze.
Yeah, I mean 9th has to get the bronze. As good as for multiplayer as it is right now for the 9th generation. The Switch is right there.
Yeah, the Switch kind of tips it over.
It's the same. It's kind of the same argument I made for the Wii.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Where it's like, yeah, you can have as much as you want to, or you can have a Switch.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
as we've seen, everyone chooses the Switch.
Yep, exactly. Watch them force it to be cloud gaming. I actually have faith that they won't, because when Phil Spencer was asked about that around like the showcase time, like the possibility of a handheld and stuff, he very skillfully, in a perfect PR manner, danced around the question, but then kind of, I feel like, gave us hints of what's to come, where he said, well, if we do have one, in my mind, it has to be native. It has to be able to play games natively. So that I feel like he gave us a lot of hints in that interview that there is one coming, and it will in fact be native. I feel like they realize that it can't be cloud. I also don't think it's gonna be cloud because I fully believe that Xbox Keystone thing. There was like the leaked diagram of it recently. It's like a literal little box that's only for cloud gaming. It's probably gonna be like $100. I think that's gonna be their entry point to cloud. I think if there's gonna be a handheld, I do think it'll be native, which is exciting.
I think they need, as weird as it is to say, I think they need to stop pushing cloud on anything that is not specifically
Meant for
made
cloud.
for
Yeah.
cloud.
I agree to that.
If you're gonna push cloud, as much as I don't like there being like 6 different options of like a console or something. I mean, it's like I bought a Series S because I wanted the cheaper entry point digital only version of the console. That's so I got that. And I'm glad that option was available because the Series X is significantly more expensive. I'm not happy that the Series S is like kind of hampering game studios from being able to go all out. Not happy about that. But I'm glad I had the option for it. Whereas like if I could buy like $100 box and be able to play or be able to stream whatever I wanted to it, it's like even if the performance is a little lower, yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah.
It's like there's plenty of people who would take that option.
Yeah.
Granted, I think most people are kind of like a little tired of the idea of cloud gaming at this point.
Yep.
I feel like most people feel like they've been burnt on it. So I kind of think we need to get away from the idea for a long time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we won't, but I agree.
But if they're going to try to push it, make your own thing for it and see how successful cloud gaming is on its own.
Yeah, that's where Xbox Keystone comes in. Like that, like we saw the schematics for it. It's a thing. It's coming. As long as they have a good price point for it, I'm telling you, launch that thing at $100. It's going to move some copies. It's going to move units.
Well, that's the thing is like separate cloud entirely.
Yeah.
Make it its own thing. Quit trying to push it on any other console. Say if you want cloud gaming, buy this.
Yeah.
And this will have everything cloud gaming related.
Yep.
Then you can see how valuable cloud gaming actually is.
Yep. Jacob threw up a couple interesting comments. I think the Steam Deck having the success it's had has given Microsoft and Sony confidence with the native handheld consoles, especially with how cheap it is. I'm going to give you a double up to that. Number one, I think the Switch is what's given them confidence from native handheld. Like maybe we should, in Microsoft's case, look into it for the first time, and in Sony's case, look back into it. But I think the Steam Deck further solidified their confidence that, okay, we can have a powerful handheld at a good price point. And they gave them confidence in that department. Because, I mean, can't take credit away from the Switch when it's about to be the highest selling video game console in the history of video games. But the Steam Deck, I think, gave them confidence from a power and price standpoint. Okay, so we can have a powerful console that's an affordable price point.
I think the Switch is the real big kicker there. Like you got to give the props to the Switch for what it's done. I think the Steam Deck gave them the confidence to be like, maybe this will work.
Yeah, like the final nail in the coffin of, okay, yes.
Because the idea with the Steam Deck is, okay, well, your Steam library that you have on your PC, you can access on this little mobile device and be able to play games on it. And I feel like the initial reaction was being like, yeah, but we have Steam and we have it on our PC. Why would we want this little thing for it? And then it turns out everyone wants one. So that they can look at that and go, oh, so people don't care if they already have the way to play the game. They just want another way to be able to play that library of games.
Exactly.
So I think while the Switch probably put the idea back in and they started putting some ideas together around it, I think the Steam Deck success really was the factor where they're like, oh, people really will pay for 2 devices.
Yep.
Like they'll pay for 2 different consoles.
Yep.
To
correct.
be able to play their games on.
That's a great way to put it, because that's why I think, we get the Xbox whatever. It's not going to be called Series. They've changed the name every time. Xbox whatever. You're right. It's going to have its home console, and it's going to have a native handheld that's runs just like the home console. It's just a handheld, and they're both going to be priced at a full price console, and people are just still going to buy both because they want both ways to play. Like that's the way that I look at it happening, is basically kind of in terms of what you just said of like, we have our PC to play our PC games, but we also have the Steam Deck where we can play the same library on the go. That's the way I see it happening. And for the PlayStation Portal, I don't know what Sony was. I don't know what Sony was doing with that thing. I think it's ugly as shit too, man.
Sony, you had it right there. All you had to take the Vita, make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
That's all you had to do.
Yeah, that's all you had to do. Just the PlayStation, whatever.
Everybody's trying to emulate the fucking Vita now.
Vita was revolutionary. It had an OLED screen. Vita was awesome. Love the Vita. Also, the 9th gen started $70 standard for digital games, so it doesn't even get a podium spot, in my opinion. The digital aspect of that is kind of crap. I will agree to that.
I mean, I don't know that you can blame. I mean, that's just price increases in general.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm calling it now. I've called it before. We're gonna have $100 base price games in a few years. I'm calling it.
Yeah, with the introduction of the 9th generation, all prices were increased. So, I mean, I do think that if I'm buying a game digitally, I should get a better deal than if I'm buying the physical version of the game.
Yeah.
I think that if a physical version costs $70, why can't I have my digital version for $60?
Yeah, I agree to that.
You're making the same damn money, but you don't have to make a disc.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Quit charging me more for me getting less.
Yeah, I agree to that 100%. Even Nintendo's dipping their toes in 70 with Tears of the Kingdom being the first $70 and I think only $70 price tag they've put out.
But it is one of those where, like, pricing. If it's weird to get into like the pricing games discussion, because if you start, you start doing that and you look at it and start looking at some games, it's like, look at the value of most games that came out on Xbox One and just compare that to the value you got from Halo 3.
Right.
The 7th generation is going to win every time with that.
Facts.
The only thing that's not going to lose that fight straight up is Destiny.
I know. Man, Destiny 1 was a fun time, man.
Because it came out and for the time it was the best value that you could really get with a single game at that point. But yeah, it is a weird thing because like you look at it and like 5th and 6th generation, it's hard to really argue for multiplayer because most of the time we're thinking of multiplayer, we're thinking of online.
Yeah, it's a natural reaction.
And that was more of like local multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which both of them were very good for both generations were very good at like local multiplayer games.
Couch
and
co-op,
like
whatever.
The couch co-op variant and just having people sitting around the same screen playing it.
Shout out to LAN parties.
But it's one where it's like, even as good as some of those games were and the memories of playing some of those games with some friends are, I don't think they stand up.
Oh no,
they don't necessarily
can't compare to 7 through 9. They can't. Now, if you take away the idea of multiplayer games and you just can say best console generations, I think 6 has a very strong argument for all 4 consoles, not just the PS2. I think all 4 have an argument to like 6 can stand up to any other generation, but multiplayer wise, yeah, they can't really compare. I mean, literally, you look at that generation, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of phenomenal multiplayer games for local multiplayer. But like, if we're just talking like online multiplayer, look, Halo was great, but really all you've got is Halo 2. Like, no disrespect to the OG that started it all, but Halo 2 is what really drove. That's what took off. All right, I'm just calling it as
The
it
other
is.
thing is, you just look at this list, and I'm thinking back to what was it? Our top consoles of all time list. It's seventh generation kicks the shit out of the rest of these.
Right? What episode was that? Was that 100?
I don't remember.
I think that was episode 100. I need to go back and like pull that episode and like.
I don't know. I
and...
single-handedly.
Actually, I think I did put that into our playlist because I recently made a Gamestetic topic playlist. I think it's in there.
I remember single-handedly pulling the Wii out of the dregs from you guys.
That was a fun list, man. I fought tooth and nail to try to get Wii U anything higher than 25, but it did not work.
Didn't deserve it.
At least 24. I don't remember what the list was. I didn't deserve to go high. I agree to that. I just didn't want it to be dead last. I wanted it to be 24. The Wii U was fun. It has fun games. It's just, failure in marketing and a failure in a lot of other aspects. But Wii U had some fun stuff. As we've seen it have.
Had a good controller.
Had a cool controller. Yeah. All those games got a new new chance at life on the Switch. Except for a couple of them now. I think literally they've ported almost every single first-party title, like good first-party title from that generation, but I think like 3. Like literally, you look at the catalog, dude, and it's like the entire Wii U catalog's on the Switch.
Yeah, it's because they made decent games on a console nobody wanted.
Exactly. I think the only ones that didn't get brought up was like Xenoblade Chronicles X, Star Fox Zero, I think is what it was called. And I think there might be one other. But other than that, like everything else got brought up or got some sort of port. As far as the biggest turning point in home console history, I think the 5th takes the cake with the intro to PlayStation and discs. Thank God Sega and Nintendo fumbled the bag with Sony. I recently had pop back up in my timeline one of my favorite moments from a gaming convention where like the CEO of PlayStation at the time literally just walked up to the podium and just says $299 and walks away. That's it. That's all he said. Just indicating, hey, we're $100 cheaper than the Dreamcast. Buy our PlayStation. Like, it's still one of my favorite moments of all time.
I watched a video fairly recently. I think it was Downfall of Sega or something like that, where they basically just went through the history of like gaming consoles and releases and stuff like that. And it's like when that moment happened, he's like, the guy was like, okay, we're finally to this. We're finally to the moment.
The $299?
Yeah.
Yeah. The moment that literally killed the console, which sucks because the Dreamcast is awesome. Dreamcast is a great console.
I love the Dreamcast.
It's fantastic.
I've got my Dreamcast. I got a bunch of the hokey shit that came with it.
Oh yeah.
Little interactive screen, like memory card.
Yep. Hey, I will be making that controller video in the next week since we're not having a show next week. So to kind of supplement that, I won't have a podcast to rip a bunch of clips from. I'm going to make a couple videos, and that is one I'm going to make. Which, again, I'm glad I waited, because now when I do the Xbox portion of that list, I can include the cheat controllers.
Can you do a special mention for the Game Boy, like Game Boy Color?
I can. What exactly do you want me to mention?
Have you not seen that, like, minute-and-a-half long video of them just attaching?
Oh
everything?
Yeah, that thing. Yes, I know exactly.
Where they start with just like putting,
because those are all official accessories, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think those. Yeah, I know exactly. I'll find out if that is if that's all, if everything that they put on that console, if that's all official, I will include.
There's different ones because I know there's one where it's all officially ones, and then there's one with everything that there was, and it becomes a monstrosity.
If that was all official accessories during the era of Game Boy, then I feel like it counts. If it's all like stuff that's come out 20 years later, that don't count.
Yeah.
But if it's all that came out at that time, which did there was a fucking printer, for God's sake. Yeah. Like, Game Boy had some weird shit. I'm glad you mentioned this. I'm gonna have to reevaluate this list now. I had a pretty good list, and I'm gonna have to reevaluate it because Game Boy did have some weird. The printer, I forgot all about the printer. That was wild.
You could just do one like honorable mention and be like, it's not really a controller, but
I want to shout this out because it's weird. So no, I'm looking forward to that.
That's
video.
One of my favorite. Every now and then I'll just look it up because it's just like, it was like, remember this point in gaming.
Yes, that's a wild time, dude. You know, speaking of also of the downfall of Sega. I had a random thought, like I think probably about a month or so ago when I was on my big Persona kick and I beat 3 through 5, 5 through whatever in whatever order I beat them all back to back to back to back. And I had a thought. I know it would obviously never happen because they're fine how they're doing now, but like I thought about like, man, what if Sega actually tried to get back into the console business? Because like I know you're shaking your head. Obviously they wouldn't.
It's not worth it.
And it's not worth it for them. I agree, but I thought about it where it's like they have so many heavy hitting titles that they could just gatekeep and be like, sorry, first party. You want to play the Persona 6? Buy our console. You want to play the new Sonic Frontiers? That's gonna let's just assume it's going to be great. Buy our console. You want to play the new Like a Dragon? That's going to be fantastic. Buy our console. Like they could be assholes and just gatekeep all of their amazing franchise. Obviously, this will never happen. They're perfectly fine with what they're doing today. But I thought about that like there's an alternate reality where that happened, and Sega's potentially a juggernaut right now because of it. Potentially. There's an alternate reality, but there's probably also an alternate reality where they do this and everything flops.
Yeah.
Like
There's the alternate reality where they tried that, and then now we don't have Sonic, we don't
have
Like a
Persona
Dragon.
and Like a Dragon and everything else. It's just an interesting thought that there is an alternate reality where that happened and it succeeded and it flopped. Because they do have a lot of solid titles over there. They really do. We went on about this a lot longer than I thought we would. We're at an hour mark for the show.
we just that's what happens when you just keep saying the same things over and over again.
Yeah, you really milk some time.
Yeah, it's like we can milk some time out of a topic if we really need to.
Yeah. So let me shout out a sponsor. Let me shout out Rogue Energy. You can use the referral link down below and pick up any of the lines, the hydration, the chilled, or the energy line. They're all absolutely fantastic. Use promo code SPARK3 to get 10% off your order, but you don't have to use the promo code if there is a better sale going on. Hey, just use the referral link and you're still helping out the brand, and you're also going to be helping out your life because they are delicious. All right, at this point, I don't know what to talk about. Like, up front, didn't have anything else. I got a bunch of stuff in the weekly wrap-up. SummerSlam's next week. Shout out to that. Gaming-wise, I've just been playing college football. I did see Rise of the Ronin got a free demo. Downloaded that last night. Started to play it. Character creator is very deep. It's going to be one of those games that you like where you can create an obscuredly monster character. So I got about halfway through the character creator. I'm like, I need to actually like do this like during the day, not 10:30 at night. I'm going to come back to this. I'm looking forward to trying the demo.
Character creators, like, there's one of two things for me. Either like you have a crazy detailed character creator, I'm gonna spend like an hour and a half to 2 hours going through every option and making the exact character I want to make.
Yep.
Or I'm gonna play a default character and pick the hairstyle. There is no in between with me.
Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting is that you design, I guess, two different characters because like it's not like oh, it's just like you pick one, like the male or female, because you can go to the Veil Guard 1 and make him a female if you want. But like if you just hit the triggers, the bumpers, whatever, it swaps between two characters on the bottom. It's like Veil Guard 1, Veil Guard 2. So I guess you have to design two characters.
That's what you do in Baldur's Gate.
Okay, is it? Oh yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah. I remember now.
Baldur's Gate, you create two characters.
Yeah. So same thing. You create two characters. So I got halfway through the first character, and I'm like, all right, yep, I'm gonna probably have to follow up on this, but I do want to play it.
Yeah. Two interesting things this week from my side of the gaming world. One, hotfix 1.0.4, I believe it was released for First Descendant, where they made a bunch of changes to like missions, overworld, trying to rebalance gold distribution.
Nice.
Like all strategic outposts, I believe, or recon missions, cooldowns got reduced from 5 minutes down to 1. And we got some previews for the big August patch that should be happening in the next week or so. Mm-hmm. Which I believe the August patch is going to have new ultimate weapons, new character, new missions, whole bunch of updates.
Nice.
And then second thing, new Path of Exile League just dropped.
I saw you got on Path of Exile earlier, and I was just like, oh, look at that.
I literally yesterday I was sitting at my computer and I went, I heard a new league was coming. When is that happening? And I looked and it was like, oh, it's now.
Yeah.
So then I logged in.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
started playing.
Nice. Update on my side as well. Obviously, since I'm not talking about it, unfortunately did not get into the Marvel Rivals closed beta. Very upset about that. Very devastated. Got to keep waiting. Everything I've seen, though, looks great. And you know the one thing that really breaks my heart the more that I continue to watch clips of anything? The more that I watch clips, the more that I realize there is probably a 6% chance that I'm going to actually be able to use Spider-Man and be effective.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening. I watch like good Spider-Man players and like some clips that I've seen. I'm like, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. I'm not that good. I am a bad gamer. So I was like, damn, I'm not going to be able to play my favorite superhero. So
It
is what it is.
That's the other thing where, well, granted, I've been playing like all PvE games, but I see clips of people playing like characters I really enjoy playing and just destroying, and I'll just sit there and go, so that's what it looks like when you're at the peak.
Yep.
I will do a quarter of that.
Exactly. That's going to be me the moment I lock in Spider-Man, because the moment I get Rivals, I'm locking in Spider-Man right away, and I'm probably gonna go like 3-11, but I'm gonna do my damnedest to have a good time at my 3-11.
Yeah. I play like 3 games right now. I'm playing Path of Exile, play First Descendant, and Project Zomboid.
Oh, nice.
I have not played anything other than those. And well, I played a little bit of Rocket League last week. Didn't go well.
Didn't go well.
Didn't go very well. But yeah, no, it's like I've been all about like PvE games right now. It's great.
Yeah, I feel you. Right now, I'm just still bouncing between college football and Fire Emblem Awakening. Having fun playing that. Actually trying it. You know, because me and you both, it was me and you, we bought it day one. I remember. You were excited for it. I played like an hour, and I'm just like, all right, I'm done. And that was it.
Don't remember it.
Yeah, that happened. So I'm actually playing it.
Is it the one on DS? Or
3DS.
one of the ones on DS?
That was on 3DS. With starred Lucina and Crom. Actually, did you? I don't know if you bought it day one. I think I gave you my copy. Actually, now I think about it.
I don't think that's the one I was excited for.
I don't know which one you're excited for. I know obviously you bought 3 Houses immediately, but
Well, no, I think the one that I was
it Fates?
I think Fates and Conquest? Was it?
Yeah, Fates Conquest. That's one of the 2 games. It's Birthright and Conquest.
Yeah.
Fates took like a Pokemon route.
Yeah. I knew it was 2. I couldn't remember if they were this. Yeah, I remember. I think that's the one I was excited about.
So I have a confession to make. I didn't want to get roasted by you, but now that we're on this topic, I'll have a confession to make. So Fire Emblem Fates. This past week, I have gotten my hands on the Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition, which is now the most expensive game that I own. It was $300. Me and my fiance, we affirmed it. We both agreed we were going to pay half. So it's not really that much money out of my pocket, thankfully, since she's paying for half. We're both just paying $10 a month. So 20 total was our affirm payment. So really happy to get that because me and her are both dipshits and we failed to go buy Fire Emblem Fates Revelations, which is like the 3rd final story of where the 2 combined, you know, that was DLC only. Failed to buy that. So we found a good price. $300, ironically, is a good price for the Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition that comes in the box, has the art book, it has the game looks great, the bag looks great, and everything. So we now have our hands on the Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition that has both games and Revelations on it. It's now the most expensive game that I own. I think it's also funny that the second most expensive game I own is also a Fire Emblem game of Path of Radiance for the GameCube. I bought that for $280 or $260.
I thought my controllers were expensive.
That's not all. Let me tell you the final cherry on top for this.
I've got a couple expensive controllers.
Yeah.
You're blowing me out of the water.
Let me give you the final cherry on top. This one, you can't roast me. I have nothing to do with it. So she also affirmed to buy the Fire Emblem Awakening Special Edition 3DS. Found one at a good price of $250. It's in flawless condition.
I find that more acceptable.
That is acceptable. The $300 game is kind of steep. I ain't gonna lie.
Having the console or the controller
I agree.
is more acceptable than paying that much for the game.
Look, it's a rare game. And now we can play Revelations. We're stupid, and we did not download it at the time.
The thing is, you probably just saw it and jumped on it pretty quickly because you got excited.
We both sat on it for a couple days. For the record, we did.
I mean, you sit on it for a little bit. You could find some crazy deals on shit. Why you think I bought that Sea of Thieves controller?
So, but yeah, anyways, that's what I've been up to. Jacob also says Build 42 needs to hurry up for Project Zomboid.
I don't have enough experience in the game to understand the differences yet.
Okay.
I've only played for about 20 hours. And I'm playing co-op with a buddy of mine. Mm-hmm. So we started the game at the same time and are learning it in the same way. So we are not good yet.
Figuring it out.
It's like we are figuring it out. I just had to start a new character because I got a little overzealous and no longer had any caution when I was running around, and I walked outside of a door without checking.
Main thing with Build 42 is NPCs.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, we're still getting in the kind of the handle of survive and be able to do everything without like fear of death at all times.
That's fair.
I'm getting better.
Right.
In like the last 10 or so hours we've played, I've only died once.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Jacob also said earlier that he sent a very stern email to EA about not having a ginger head option for coaches in Dynasty. Jacob was bitching about that. There's no representation for him in the game. Still having fun with college football. All the boys at ATFS, minus Ricky, because he doesn't have a console. We have officially got going finally, our Dynasty. And it wasn't planned, but it just so happened that we all decided to pick MAC teams. Like I picked Buffalo. Is all I said to everyone was I just pick a 1-star school. And then Shane picked Kent State, which is also the MAC. And I'm just like, are we doing this? Are we about to have a MAC action up in this bitch? And then everyone has followed through. So we're all going to get to play each other this year. So that's fun. I had a great upset. Unranked Buffalo goes into 9th-ranked Missouri and gets the dub. Jacob, what the sad part is? That was not an overly hard game. That's the sad part. I know it was close. I barely won, but in terms of passing, for the most part, I could do what I want. Now, if you look at the stats, I literally passed to 2 people all game because they were the only one that could do anything. Rushing, I ended the game with minus 24 yards. I couldn't run against them at all, and defending them was pretty tough. But when doing the passing attack against Missouri really wasn't that hard. I mean, at least with my main 2 receivers, that could actually do something and get separation. I've also been trying to get used to the placement and accuracy play style, not the revamp that I told you about. Enjoying that. Except for today. Played a couple. I haven't been able to nail it today in my Memphis Dynasty. Having a hard time with that. But college football's still fun. Having fun. I'm going to probably play it some more later. Anyway. You got anything else that you want to chat about? Or do you want to start going through the weekly wrap-up? I am going to ask you SummerSlam thoughts. We're going to do that at the end. So, people that just care about games don't have to listen to wrestling.
I don't think I have anything else.
All right. Let me shout out Agent Inc. then. Use the referral link down below. Head over to Agent Inc. Pick up a hat or a jersey. I still have not updated the jerseys. I'm terrible. I'm so bad. I need to do that. But no, seriously, if you could, though, pick up one of the hats at least. That'd be pretty sick. Or just the Sparky 3 jersey, because that is awesome. All right, so let's start going through the weekly wrap-up, and we're going to have some SummerSlam conversation. So the first thing, happy 35th anniversary to the Mother series. Shout out to that. The series that's dead and will never have a new game. Fallout London, the humongous mod that's basically titled Fallout 4.5, is officially out. So we've been looking forward to that one for a while. Now's your time to check it out. Armored Core 6 has also sold 3 million units. Hey, that from soft treatment, baby. That's what's up. Capcom will apparently continue to release physical games. Good on you, Capcom. That's what I like to see. Let's go. Don't give up physical games just yet. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop physical editions are available for pre-order now at Limited Games, and Zach already bought it. The cheerleader edition. I saw that. I'm like, yeah, got to get that to him immediately. Apparently, Legacy of Kain's Soul Reaver Remasters logo was spotted at San Diego Comic-Con. So there you go, John. You got a port. I know how you want more games to be ported. I know you don't really give a shit about this, but hey, at least things are being ported.
I will say I gotta love the fact that I bring up wanting like certain specific remasters last week.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Get
You send me the potential remaster for it.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add that on the script because that took place like literally after our show, so that was already out of my brain. What was it?
Tales of Zillia.
Tales of Zillia. There you go.
The only thing is there's it was only the first one, meaning maybe, well, if that one actually happens, then maybe based off that we'll get 2 at some point.
Right.
But
Hopefully, more remasters would be nice. Ports.
more remasters, ports too.
Yeah.
More ports.
Just be able to buy the game. Let's not gatekeep games on a console just to die forever.
Yeah, it's like just because it may not have done well on a past console, or maybe you don't know if it'll do well. You know how you find out? You port it.
Yeah, port it and give it a second chance at life. That's a fact. All right, let's see. Next up, Like a Dragon Yakuza live action trailer has dropped. That's coming for Amazon, so shout out to that.
I meant to watch that.
The trailer.
I haven't watched it yet.
I don't have any context to Like a Dragon, but I mean, it looked pretty. It looked pretty, that's all I can tell you. On the other opposite vein of live action, so apparently the BioShock live action film at Netflix, the budget for it has been slashed, and now the director's saying it's going to be more of a personal film. And I'm like, that's you trying to tell us that this is not going to be a good film because Netflix cucked you, which is unfortunate.
I have a feeling, or it's like in my mind, like this is just me saying this. I have a feeling they were like, okay, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this, and Netflix goes, no.
Basically, I agree.
It's like, no, we said do it for this much, and you're saying you want to do it for this much. So now you know what you get? Half that.
Yeah, enjoy. Get cucked. So Concord will not have a battle pass, so shout out to that. But also shout out to the controller, because that controller is sick.
I was going to say, you seem really high on that controller.
That controller, that's my vibe, dude. That controller is sick. Like, and the best part is the controller doesn't like throw it in my face that it's Concord. So I can just get the controller and I can forget Concord's a thing. That's great. I'm here for that.
I did it with Redfall.
Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah, so how you feel on your Redfall controllers, how I feel about this Concord controller.
The thing is, like, it's kind of, the design for the Concord controller is kind of, it's not like overbearing.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a sleek design to it.
Yeah.
I'll probably try to get it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try to get it. I love the color scheme for it. The design, like you said, is sleek. Like, I don't give a shit about Concord, especially after playing it. But the controller looks sick. I want that controller. Last piece of news. Apparently, Rockstar made a GBA port of The Warriors that never released. The Warriors is one of Zach's favorite games of all time. So when I saw this news came out from an anonymous source at Rockstar that there's a completed file of the game sitting around on a hard drive at Rockstar. It's just one of those interesting fun facts of gaming history that's just like to think about the what if. Obviously, it wouldn't have been a banger, but it's still just like, what an interesting port. The Warriors to Game Boy Advance. I'd be curious to hear Zach's thoughts on how that would even, like, how great that would even be or terrible. But unfortunately, he's not here. So, last thing is Gamestead Game of the Week, which I believe is your week.
I was unprepared.
So shout something out. Gamestead Game of the Week by the unprepared John.
Okay, let's see here. We're gonna have to give me just a second to think of something.
Oh. You can't just fire from the hip?
Just pew. No, I mean, I can fire from the hip. Nothing good is coming from the hip, though.
Nothing good coming from the hip. Oh man. Really pondering. Do you want me to start including on the script whose week it is?
No,
Okay.
I knew it was gonna be me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Gamesthetic game of the week. I'm gonna go with Age of Mythology.
Ooh, here we go.
Age of
Because it's getting that
Mythology.
remaster, right?
Yeah, that's
There
kind of
you
what
go.
made me think of
Or
it.
remake. I think it's a remake.
Age of Mythology is, I mean, it's an RTS game where, like, instead of like, you play and you can use some of the power of different gods, Norse, Greek, and I forget the other, but yeah, it's an RTS game. Build up your base, build up your resources, build up your army, conquer. It's very nostalgic for me because it is one of, like, I liked RTS games growing up as a kid, and it is the RTS game that was my RTS game. It was the one that I played for endless hours.
That's fair.
And I still think back on it fondly, and
Pumped for the remake.
like
Huh?
really like the game. Also very well timed to actually mention it because it is getting a remake.
Yep.
Or remaster.
I think it's remake.
It is Age of Mythology retold.
Yep.
Should be coming out soon, and I highly recommend anybody give it a shot. You can go back. Usually, you can find Age of Mythology on like a Steam sale or something for a couple bucks.
Yeah.
It might just be a couple bucks on its own.
Yeah.
But there's also the remake coming soon. Highly recommend. Even if you're not a huge fan of RTS games, it's not overbearing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the remake. I plan on downloading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm big fan of the remake.
Especially
happening.
since it's Game Pass. So here we go. Best deal in gaming. Downloading that shit. Age of Mythology on Game Pass. No excuse not to try it. So another game set game of the week in the books. Now, with that said, if you don't give a shit about wrestling, thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you in a couple weeks after SummerSlam. All right, John. Scale of 1 to 10. How pumped are you for SummerSlam? I'm like a solid 9 right now. Personally.
My excitement has gone down a little bit.
Oh, no.
Not for any reason on the show because I've missed the weekly shows.
So I missed SmackDown and Raw both this week. So
I
agree
missed
with that.
SmackDown and Raw, so I have less context for what happened. So I have less excitement right now. But I'm pretty sure when I watch Raw on Monday, I'll be just as excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Overall, though, for what should be happening there, I'm like a solid 8.5.
Yeah. I'm a very solid 9 right now because number one, Reigns is coming back, baby. The Tribal Chiefs, it's happening. He's coming back at this pay-per-view.
Okay, here's the thing. This is why you're more excited than I am. You have it in your mind that it is 100% happening.
Yeah. If it doesn't happen, I'll be very disappointed.
See, I have learned. Don't do that.
It's happening. I'm locking it in.
I am expecting it to happen. I'm not saying it is 100%.
But you know what the thing is, though? Even though that's very exciting, that's not the most exciting part. The most exciting part for me is I am so damn ecstatic for Punk and McIntyre. I'm so damn ready for that match. With Seth as the guest referee, I'm so damn excited for the chaos that match will be.
Funny enough, when it was first announced, I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't sure how to feel about the special guest referee. It kind of threw me off a little bit. The more I sit on it, the more I'm like, this is just gonna be chaos.
It's gonna be match of the night.
It's gonna be chaos. It is probably gonna be match of the night because the main event is gonna be the interference hell.
Oh my god, yeah. Cody and Solo, absolutely. I do have the match card up, so let's go through here and give out official predictions. Jacob's already throwing out some predictions like Roman coming back, a hope that he wants Randy to turn on Cody, LA winning the U.S. title. I'm ready for Gunther to win the world heavyweight.
Here's my only argument for Roman not coming back yet, because if you want to build Randy Cody, he's got to get through this. He's got to get through this with maybe some help from Randy, and then it's like, and then you build that. You build that, and maybe that ends with somehow Solo getting his hands on the belt and everything. And then you build to a Roman return. I don't think it's happening that way.
Yeah,
but I want to see the Randy Cody match too. I don't think it happens very quickly. if Roman comes back now.
I honestly, I think that could be a potential WrestleMania match, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could, but I don't know. There's so many possible WrestleMania matches for Cody and for Randy both. Randy only has, like, in my opinion, two. It's either John or it's Cody. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. But going through the match card first, we have Damian Priest and Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sorry, Priest. Priest.
If Gunther don't beat the shit out of this man, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Priest. You had a good run. You kind of had an okay run. Let's be honest. You had an okay run.
You had a run. I'm not gonna blame you for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna blame the fact that it took so damn long to call the briefcase. They should have done it a lot sooner. Just got it over with.
It's not the fact that they didn't call it in; it's that they did nothing to bring him up.
Yeah.
To make you think that he was when he won it.
Yeah.
If you called it in early, people would have been excited. He was the main event guy. They let him cool off so much that he kind of became a goofball character again.
Yep.
And then they tried to immediately push him as serious world champion. It's like you gotta take us there.
Yep. I had to really think about that for a second. Like, Jacob, what the hell are you smoking, my friend? He said Randy turns on Cody and Cody bails out Ted Jr. to help against Randy. Ted Jr. is going to very comfortably sit in his cell. Jesus Christ. That's a meme. Bailey and Nia. I think Bailey. You think Bailey's going to win? I think Bailey's reign's going to end. I do. I think Bailey's reign's going to end.
I think you have Bailey win here. I don't think. Okay, granted, I've talked to you about this. I'm not a big Bailey guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think this reign has been spectacular.
No.
I think you have Bailey win here, mainly just because you got the Nia Stratton kind of group, like friendship going on here. It'd be weird to immediately introduce a title to that and have a little.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like them two together, but they need something to like. They both need the goal of the same thing. Otherwise, they're immediately going to have the tension there.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, and when you talking about that, you know what my first thought was? I wonder if they're just going to try to replicate the Daniel Bryan Big Show friendship, where Daniel Bryan had the briefcase and cashed in on Big Show when they were friends for a little bit, and they cashed in, I think, after Big Show's match with Mark Henry. I could see that being a route they take with Tiffany and Nia. I could see that exact same kind of setup. So, Bailey's winning. You're right. Liv and Rhea. I'm wondering if we're going to be on the same. Okay, we are on the same page. Liv is winning. Thank you, Liv's winning.
Liv retains.
And look, it's not because of a preference. I just think the money storytelling is Rhea chasing it for a long period of time. I think you handing it back to Rhea immediately is not key storytelling.
No, you
give her the chase.
Liv has been world champion, but she has not felt like world champion.
Yeah.
You get Rhea back into the story. Liv beats her here. It's like you can let Liv reign until WrestleMania if you want to. Because you know it would be real fun. Rhea being in the Rumble again, winning, turning to Liv, and just being like, your time's over now.
Yeah.
It's like you've been sitting up there parading around.
Yep. So many people are determined Rhea's going to win. Shout out to Jacob. He also thinks Liv. Like, so many people are determined it's Rhea. I'm not. I genuinely think the story for Rhea coming back from injury is the chase. Do not hand it back to
that's
her.
the thing. She's come back. She's babyface now. Give the babyface the chase.
Exactly. It's the money story. He also says Dom will help. I actually disagree. I think it'd be Finn. I think Finn's going to turn on the Judgment Day.
Well, I mean, the problem is they've been teasing that, so it's probably going to be Dom.
That's fair.
Judgment Day should be over after this show.
Ooh, that's a good prediction.
It's like they're at least going to the group should at least be split after the show.
Gotcha. Logan in LA, easy.
LA,
yeah. It's Tom.
It's a year too late.
Yeah, it's Tom. Give him the damn title. Yeah. Sammy and Braun. Is it time? Is it time for Braun? I know you want this bad.
I want
you want
this.
this aggressively
I
bad.
want this bad.
You want this more than anything.
I understand what they were going for last time.
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm over this Sammy reign. It's like, because the last match was just like Braun beat the hell out of him, and then got outsmarted and beat at the end of it. Let's do that same thing, except Braun wins.
Yeah.
So just the entire time, I want him ragdolling Sammy.
Right.
I want Braun coming out champion. I want
Jacobs,
Braun coming out champion, and then a few months down the line, you can have a championship Braun Ilya match.
right.
Think of those two are already having bangers on TV. Put them on
A PLE.
yeah, put them on a PLE and see how much they show out.
Jacob says Sammy will win because of bad booking. I can see why Sammy would win, but I do think they're going to put. I think they're going to put. He also then just sent. But Braun needs it if they plan on getting Sammy back into the Bloodline story when Roman comes back and needs his Uzi back. Facts. That's fair. Braun's winning. Lock it in.
Okay. Granted, I think I did hear this. I heard this on a podcast. I don't know if it was like the Wrestle Talk podcast or if it was a different podcast I was listening to that kind of just a video carried over into. So we've got all the tag titles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We just had Sammy and Jay being a tag team, and they pinned the champions, which in theory could give them a title match against them.
Yeah.
Imagine on one show you have Bloodline tag champions.
Happening next week.
It's like imagine they win the belts there.
Mm-hmm.
They have the tag gold over there. Then you have Sammy and Jay over here, tag champions over here. God, do not unify these belts.
Oh my God, please.
But you could
Yeah.
it's like you could have them both there. It's like you could have some story where it's like on opposite sides, old Bloodline members versus new Bloodline members, all champions. You could put something together.
Yeah.
Although don't take the tag belts and put them in the Bloodline.
Yeah.
They just got those.
Yeah, the DIY.
Yeah, DIY.
Yeah,
just got
DIY
those.
deserves to have a run.
Do not take them
I
away
love
immediately.
DIY. They need it. They need the titles. They need to take
If you gave them the belt just to give it to the Bloodline, it's like
I'm gonna be pissed.
that's disrespectful.
That's
like DIY
no.
deserves the belts. Don't let them have a little bit of a run.
Yep. But no, what Jacob said was facts. You know, Sammy needs the belt off him so he can be involved with the Bloodline storyline. Oh, that's gonna be so good. I can't wait. Oh crap, my phone went to sleep. What was the rest of the matches? Yeah, I got Braun winning though. All right, Punk and McIntyre. This could legitimately go either way.
I want to hear you first.
All right. So it is just a singles match. So that means disqualification can be a thing. So personally, my mindset is that it's just going to end in like a disqualification because of Seth Rollins is doing something. Like, I mean, that just makes sense to me since it is just, I don't think there's any stipulation, not that I see here. So it's just a singles match, nothing else special.
Referee's discretion. So I think we're getting on Monday, we're getting Seth's rules.
Okay. Well, there you go. But I think to me, I'm kind of in the mindset that you need to have Punk win his first, TV match. He comes back, fucking gets hurt, and he's been out ever since. Like, I feel like, Drew McIntyre, I don't think needs the win. I think Punk needs the win, or the fan base is going to be like, dude comes back one match, he gets hurt. He comes back his second match, and now he loses. Like, you're losing any credibility for Punk to go on a run.
But you're other side of that. Drew has been in all of these big matches. He hasn't won a single one.
I know, but I still don't feel like he needs the win.
Drew's in the top 10 for most losses for the year.
Oh, I know.
That being said, Punk pins Drew.
Yeah, I think Punk wins. I think Punk wins. I mean, I'm happy with that because I love Punk, but
I have no attachment to Punk. I like what he's doing right now. Like, I wasn't watching wrestling when Punk was around, so I have no attachment to Punk. I don't really know much about him or his previous work. I'm a big fan of Drew currently.
I love Drew.
I love current Drew. Punk's getting the win here. This is gonna set up a program where somehow, I don't know how this is gonna happen, especially based on the earlier match. Somehow this is gonna be a WrestleMania rematch for the World Heavyweight title. I don't know how it gets there,
I can see that.
but that's gonna happen, especially when you got Gunther over there.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. I think it's going to be a rematch for the title at WrestleMania. There's the argument that Gunther doesn't win so that this can be a title match at WrestleMania. I don't want that storyline.
Right. But it's
But it's a possibility.
Yeah. I agree. Jacob said Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal come back and help Drew, but are stopped by the new Nexus, helping Punk to win. Leads into a match with Wade Barrett for control of the Nexus. Calm down. Jesus Christ. 3MB needs to stay in the past permanently.
Although,
No.
no, I'm hearkening back to a previous match we talked about. Michael Cole has been getting really on the outs with Logan Paul in his matches. And he's been having to have Corey Graves stand up for him in some of these. Or like, remember his, like Corey Graves, everybody's been backing Cole or like getting in between them. We get a ringside brawl during that match that leads to LA Knight winning.
Yeah, true. I'd be here for that too. I'd be here for that too.
Cole is gonna be yelling at Logan, distracting him, calling him all sorts of names because he's gonna be trying to cheat again.
Yeah, Pat will be there too.
Yeah.
So. Also, shout out to Pat McAfee and the boys getting added to V2K24. A lot of people are not happy about it. I love it. I think it's hilarious. I'm here for it. And then the last match, Cody and Solo. So we can both agree, I think, that Cody's walking out with the title. You can't take it off of him yet. The money match is between him and The Rock. But how do we get to the end of the match is what I'm going to ask. Like, what all happens? That's the question. I don't think the question is who's winning. That's you're not putting the title on Solo. I'm sorry, you're not doing it. Like, Cody's walking out with the title. I don't think there's a chance Cody's losing this title until WrestleMania. I'm telling you right now. But how do we get to the end of this match? What is the roller coaster we're about to go on? That's more of the prediction than I think who wins.
I'm gonna throw out a visual here for you.
Okay.
You're not gonna like it.
Uh-oh.
You have New Bloodline all standing in the ring. You got Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu all throwing the ones up. You got Solo Sikoa hoisting the Undisputed Championship above his head. Roman's music hits. And he makes his way out to the ring. That would be a banger into the show.
Alternate solution. The match ends in some sort of disqualification.
It's not going to end in disqualification.
And we still have the brutal beatdown of Cody and the music hits. I'm telling you, you don't put the title on Solo. You don't take the title away from Cody. I'm sorry, you don't. I just don't see it.
I don't think that's happening.
It would be sweet. Don't get me wrong.
No, my visual for what is going to happen is, okay. I want to say this because me and you have talked about this independently. I'm just tired of every match having to see this. Crossroads is cool. 3 Crossroads is dumb.
3 Crossroads is stupid. Yes.
It's like, you cannot sell any of your other moves as potentially being able to finish a match if you have to hit 3 Crossroads.
Facts. 3 Crossroads is stupid. I hate the 3 Crossroads.
It's like 1 Crossroads should be enough.
Yeah. Shout out to Crossroads in Warzone. It looks so stupid.
It made sense in the Roman matchup. It does not make sense anywhere else.
I agree.
For the story, makes sense. You need to hit 3. Out after that, everyone else, 1 should suffice.
Yeah, I agree to that. Triple Crossroads is stupid.
I would assume like that you give Cody like Cody's basically has the upper hand. Match 1, visual pin on Solo. Referee bump or referee interference or something, distraction. Jacob Fatu comes in, lays the beat down on Cody. It's got to be Jacob. It's got to be Fatu.
Yeah, I agree.
He's going to lay the beat down on him. And because there's 2 ways you have Roman come back. Either Roman comes back as the close to the show and he has a stare down with whoever's in the ring, or you have him come back and he chooses. He either helps Cody or he fights with the new bloodline. Not going to fight with the new bloodline. We know that's not happening. But you have to present it as an option.
Yeah.
Because you know that if he does come down and they're in the middle of a beatdown on Cody, he's gonna have a stare down with them. He's gonna have a stare down with Cody. It's kind of who's he gonna attack before he attacks him.
Yeah, I agree. He's gonna first look at Cody and the title, and then he's gonna spear the shit out of Solo.
I think it's basically gonna be Jacob Fatu laying the beat down on Cody, and then Roman's music hits. It'd be great. Roman's music hits. Everybody's up looking around, trying to figure out what goes on. He doesn't show up. Cody takes a distraction, gets the pin on Solo, or like gets Fatu out of the ring, gets the pin on Solo, and then like as everybody's going, what just happened? Roman walks out.
Yeah, after the fact.
The music is the distraction.
Yeah.
That would be great.
That'd be great. I'm here for that. Jacob agrees with you. He said 3 Crossroads should have stayed with Roman and brought back only for The Rock. I agree. 100%.
Also, I've talked about it with you. Sometimes signature should pin people. Signature move should occasionally get the win.
You say that, then we have the People's Elbow pinning Cody.
The People's Elbow has been pinning people for decades.
It's a stupid signature.
It's a stupid signature, but at least it's a signature that wins a match.
It's consistent. It's consistent from a storytelling standpoint. I get it.
It's like my point is signature should occasionally win. People should kick out of the People's Elbow. People shouldn't really kick out of Rock Bottom.
I agree. People
shouldn't kick out of Crossroads, but they should occasionally get pinned by Cody Cutter.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all I'm saying. It's like if someone hits a Cody Cutter, it's like, I know it's a 2 count.
Yeah.
It's like, especially in a big match right now, if Cody hits 1 Crossroads and goes for the pin, I'm like, well, he's not winning yet.
Does John show up? That's a good question. I say no.
Not yet.
Not yet, no. I think there's too much story around other people that John's not going to be involved. I think John showing up would just be like WrestleMania 40 fan service. I don't think it would be necessity for any storyline. It would be fun. Always be great to see him. I just don't think so. Anyway, you ready to wrap up the show?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So last thoughts on anything? Let me hit the music. Let me turn this down. Let me get over here. Let me hit that. All right. Last thoughts.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe. That does help. Leave below what your favorite generation or what you believe the best generation for multiplayer games was. And if you like what you saw with us here and would like to see us do it again, we do these usually every Saturday about 6 p.m. Central Time. We will be taking a break next week for SummerSlam, but we'll be back the following week probably.
And hopefully we'll have stuff to talk about. I jumped on the music, my bad. Hopefully we'll have stuff to talk about when we come back. And if you made it all the way to the end and you made it through all the wrestling talk, thank you. We appreciate that. We hopefully have a wrestling show coming soon. But yeah, very excited for SummerSlam. Very excited to come back here in a couple weeks. But yeah, leave your thoughts below on favorite multiplayer generation, favorite console generation in general, what your thoughts on what the best is, etc., all that good stuff. And until next time, guys, have a good one. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.